I was
Nice.
really at the point where I just couldn't work in corporate anymore. I wanted to be self-employed. And I decided that I was going to quit that job and somehow share this information. And I had no idea how I was going to do it. I just knew it was going to work out. And my life has always been like this. I just know something's going to work out. And if I trust it, it does. So
Hey everyone, it's Melanie Johnson for another publishing podcast. Elite Publishing Podcast is here. Everything about books. We interview authors and get the lowdown, the inside scoop of what's working, what's not working, and things that can help you get your book published. So we have David Strickel. He not only has one book, but he is working on his second book. David, welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
thank you so much for having me.
Tell us your process. How long ago did you write your first book that came out, and how long did it take? And what was your writing process to get it out there? And did you traditionally publish or self-publish or have someone
Let's
self-publish
see.
for you?
The first
A lot of
book,
questions all rolled into one.
yeah, no, the first book I took a couple of years to write. It was my journey, my spiritual journey, and how I came to know and understand the things that I teach.
Uh-huh.
And I had no motivation. I was very naive. I was not in the coaching world. I was employed. I had a really high paying job. I was just writing a book to tell the story. What do you
Yeah.
call it? A vanity book, right? And I had gotten to the point when I was ready to publish the book that I started really exploring publishing. And I decided I don't think this book is going to be picked up by some mainstream publisher. I don't want to go to all the trouble to do that. That's not really why I'm writing it. I'm not trying to write some bestseller. This is just the story of what I do. I had a podcast at the time, and I still have a
Nice.
podcast, but I realized I needed to have more of a distribution channel. And so I started doing social media and things like that. And the podcast ended up being the driver for people to buy that first book and read it.
Uh-huh.
And then from there, I decided to quit my corporate job. I had a very nice mid six figure corporate gig. And I was
Nice.
really at the point where I just couldn't work in corporate anymore. I wanted to be self employed. And I decided that I was going to quit that job and somehow share this information. And I had no idea how I was going to do it. I just knew it was going to work out. And my life has always been like this. I just know something's going to work out. And if I trust it, it does. So shortly after I published the first book, I met somebody that taught me how to do a coaching program. And it was a high ticket coaching program. I did not know about the world of high ticket coaching at all. This was in 2018. It had not yet exploded yet the way it has today.
Yep.
And I got into teaching a program, and that program turned into a mindset practice that we call TYA, TYA, for trust your abundance, meaning everything in life comes down to your ability to trust a return to your own well-being, even through challenges. So it's not as simplistic as law of attraction. It's not as simplistic of you're going to dream something that's just going to show up for you. It's understanding that we're always going to have challenges, but if we change the way we approach the challenges, then they're going to work out every time. So that created a coaching program. I then spent 5 years in the coaching program writing my second book, which is the TIA practice, which has now been out for 2 years. And
Uh-huh.
that was more, it's the whole practice. I really wrote the book because I knew I didn't want to coach forever. I wrote the book to
Yeah.
shut the coaching down. Most people say you're crazy. You write a book to get people into your program.
Right.
I was writing a book to kill it, and I have finally killed it, but it took time to do that because after I wrote the book, all of a sudden, all these people showed up in addition wanting to take the program. So it's a nice
Wow.
problem to have. And it's like when you don't want something, that's when it really shows up. I didn't want to coach anymore. And I spent 2 more years coaching because the book drove so many people into my program. So the book did its job on accident, by accident, because I didn't even mean for it to. And it turned into this converter. And now I still have the book. The entire practice is in the book, but the coaching is just automated at this point. I don't even do the personal coaching anymore. So my first 2
Wow.
books were self-published, haphazardly, no real direction. And then the third book that I'm just finishing up right now, I am going to pursue mainstream publishing for that.
All right, so let's break all that down. Let me ask you about how many new customers do you think you got from the book, from the coaching book? Do you have a
I do
figure?
not follow analytics at all. I can tell you that I have run 6 and 7 figure coaching business for years without really trying that hard. and without really, and I don't pay attention. I have people that work for me that pay attention to analytics.
Yeah.
When you start
So it
asking me
might be
about
like
numbers,
double your,
I
you might
can't
have
even tell
doubled
you
your
numbers. I
code.
have no clue.
Yeah.
I'm not the guy for that. Yeah.
We'll just say it did it a lot. So tell us, how did you go about writing the book? What was your writing process? Did you spend a weekend away somewhere? Did you do it every day, every
No,
week?
I
What did
chip
you do?
away at writing over time.
Uh-huh.
Like I said, the first book took a couple of years to put together, and then I hired a professional editor who's a great editor. She edited my first book. The second book we co-authored, and
Oh,
she's an author in her own right and a fantastic editor, and she knows how to edit my writing and make it still sound like me and not take the meaning out of it and the me out of it, but certainly smooth out. I'm dyslexic. I have ADHD. I have all these things going on, and so editing my writing for a human being is very challenging. AI, no problem, but for a human being, it's a challenging thing, but she's up to the task. So we wrote the second book together, and that was over a 5 year period. And it was based on what I was teaching.
okay. So it wasn't like you did it over 6 months. So it was a long process that you did to get it done.
Yeah. And I made it a long process. Really, it took me 5 years to flesh out the practice. And that's what the rewrites came from, fleshing out the practice. And then the last year of it, it sped up quite a bit. I really took time away. I was trying to end the coaching program altogether. I took time off just to write the book, and we got it to market at that point. And then, like I said, after the book went out, I thought the coaching program would die. I didn't even have marketing links in the book, period. And all these people were knocking down our door to take the program from the book.
That's crazy. I love that. So what did you like about doing the self-publishing process? Did you hire people? Did you hire a formatter? Did you hire a book designer for the cover, or did you do everything yourself?
I did not do. I wrote it myself. That was it. I hired an editor. We hired an interior formatter. We hired cover designers in both cases, and just paid to self publish it. Paid for advertising and marketing. We hit Amazon bestseller off and on, and some of it was a push. Every once in a while, the Tire Practice will hit bestseller sometimes just after a podcast appearance, which is lovely
Yeah.
that Amazon gives you that little badge for a little bit. But it's not the
Yeah.
same thing as being a New York Times bestseller. So
Right.
the
Or
third
USA
book,
Today. Yeah.
right. The third book is much more focused on that because I'm not coaching anymore. I'm myself an author, podcaster, and philosopher these days. And so
Yeah.
my focus with the third book is mainstream publishing, that level, because I believe the third book is the one that's really worthy of that type of distribution. Not that the
Right.
first books weren't worthy, but in terms of an idea that is groundbreaking and something that can be one of the best-selling books on the topic, my third book is in that category. The Taya practice is a great practice, but you really have to want to have a system for your life where you operate in alignment with the four pillars that we teach in there.
Right. Now, are you getting a literary agent to help you connect the dots to get to a traditional publisher?
Yeah, and again, you've probably already seen that I'm not methodical. I tend to do better when I haphazardly just let the energy flow and then let things show up. My editor just showed up. I am not going to spend years querying literary agents, begging them to read my material. I'm going to assume that all of that's going to fall into place because that's how things work out. I'm also not going to be impatient about it.
Yeah. So usually traditional publishing can take up to 2 years, just
Oh, yeah.
depends. So it's a longer process. So if you're not in a hurry, then that's good. And then I think the misnomer is that, and depending on the type of traditional publishing, because there's the Simon and Schuster, but then they have the different labels underneath Simon and Schuster that are like smaller imprints that are specialized in certain types of books. And everyone thinks they're going to get this huge amount of money in. So sometimes they look at, like I've said before, I had one literary agent tell me, if you don't have 1 million followers, they're not going to pick you up. But then I've had other people tell me that's not necessarily true. If they think the book is really valid and something different and unique and that they can get people to buy it, then they're going to pick you up for that. But advances could be as little as $5,000, as well as up to people who are more well known could be six figures, right? Because they know they already have a following and that they're going to push books and be able to get on the Today Show and things like that. So the one thing that I've known, because we've worked with a variety of traditional publishers to come alongside and do the bestseller campaign or marketing campaigns for them, is they're very limited in their marketing. So just keep that in mind. So they are going to put your book out there. They push the hard copy more than anything else because they're trying to get the hard copy sales up to get it into bookstores. Their big thing is to have physical bookstore distribution is their main goal. From what I've seen working with the publishers that we have, again, we've been with Hachette and Covenant Press and Simon and Schuster, and that's their thought process. And they usually do a pre-order for that versus getting your book out right away, maybe doing a campaign on the ebook and adding those values in and doing book funnels and things like that. So marketing that they'll usually do for you is they'll run some Amazon ads is really probably the limit of their marketing capabilities. So you still have to do all the marketing. What did you
Yeah,
do for marketing?
I assume that I am responsible for marketing my own book. And
Yeah,
whatever that looks like, definitely partnering with the publisher would be more just about print distribution, because
right,
that's something I just don't want to fool with it, But I do not want someone that is going to take my book and change the title, change the what's in it, unless they can convince me that it's a more marketable title or a more
yeah,
marketable message. But I know people that have mainstream books that have hit bestseller, but it was nothing like what they started out. And I'm in life where I need book sale money or any of that. So to me, it's much more important to get the real message out, the thing that I know works, because
right,
what I teach, I have 10 years of proof that it works. So that's the
right.
message I'm trying to get out. If someone can help me get that out to a bigger audience, I think that's great. But if they want to change it into something that is more marketable, just in terms of selling, pushing books, that changes my method or my message, I would never do that.
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not sure that they do get it to a wider audience because they're just pushing it. They're going to push it to people that are on their list. They have salespeople. Matter of fact, one of our publishing coordinators left to go to a big publishing house, and their job is to contact bookstores to get their books in the bookstores. But the thing you have to keep in mind, we have an author that has hit New York Times bestseller, and she was doing a new book. It's been years since she did some other books, and her other books were out of print. So they did the print run and she's, are you going to do another print run? Because my new book's coming out. So that's going to drive traffic to the old books. And they said, no, we're not doing a print run. So when the print run is over and if they don't feel like it's in their benefit, then suddenly your book is out of print. So just also something to keep in mind. And then depending on the contract, like one author, we were privileged to see the contract and they were limited on how much they could repurpose the content. Like they wanted to make a workbook out of the book. They couldn't do that. They couldn't remake something else like a product, another published product for more than 10% of the content. So just be careful when you're signing. These are types of things that you need to look out for.
Yeah, yeah. Again, I'm a ways away from doing that, but and when I say mainstream publisher, I'm not necessarily looking for Simon and Schuster. I don't think Simon and Schuster would publish my material probably, but I am open to anything and everything. I know I don't want to just go the traditional self-publish route. So hybrid
Yeah,
publishing is probably more what you're talking about, and that is appealing to me because I still want to maintain creative control. I won't help
right.
with distribution and things like that, but I do want a path to reaching a lot more people and a lot more longevity with the book. That's what's important to
Yeah.
me.
And what's important now, like you're doing podcast interviews, and I would continue to do that to market and give parts of your book away or some kind of lead that gets them to the book is really important. Like you said, your book always spikes during podcast interviews. And
Mm.
I used to be in the television business. I owned a couple TV stations here in Texas, and that was the way to sell things back then and not so much anymore. So podcasts are really the way. So you're smart in doing podcasts and continuing that. Like when the book is coming out, start booking those, that they're going to come out. What is your goal for this book? I know you want to spread the message and get into a lot of people's hands. Do you have a business still tied into the new book or no?
Our business really is the sessions that I offer, the transmissions that we do. I channel, which is a weird woo-woo thing for a whole lot of people, but I channel, and what I channel is a sort of an inner consciousness. I only do that in our transmissions. So most of my
Uh,
business is just people showing up for the transmissions because they want to hear and ask questions and do all that. So I don't have a coaching program anymore that I tie to anything. I am out of the coaching business. I will not go back in the coaching business. I spent 10 years. I love that I did it. It's given me all of this great material and information. I just don't want to be responsible for outcomes that way anymore.
Yeah.
I've just retired from it. And again, I love doing it for 10 years. I have people that work for me that coach now that love doing it still. So
Yeah.
for me, it's just sharing this knowledge and
Ah.
getting it out there because it has a lot of value for humanity. And really, that's my mission.
And then I'm going to suggest to you in doing that in offering bulk sales. Have you ever done bulk book sales?
No.
So what I mean by that is, let's say there's an organization or a nonprofit or somewhere where you can offer them, hey, get 100 books at a certain percentage discount, or get 500 books or 1,000 books. And then I tell authors it's not just the physical book, but you can offer downloads of the ebook. You can offer so many downloads of the audiobook. So then you can package that together and sell either for a time frame. Say, hey, I'm going to give you unlimited downloads of the audiobook for the next 3 months. And it's however much, $10,000, $20,000, whatever it is that you want to put that figure on. And you can do the same thing with the ebook. You could do unlimited downloads or for up to so many downloads. So it's a way to get that message out more to people and offer it to larger groups. So then you're really hitting the people that you want to target to get that message. And even you can even do a donation to a nonprofit, which gives you a tax write-off to give them X amount of books, which is pretty cool.
Very good.
Yeah. Well, tell people where they can find you, David.
Our website is davidstrickel.com, DAVIDSTRICKEL.com.
And tell us about your podcast too. What's the name of the podcast?
The podcast is David Strickel, The Stream.
All right. Yeah. So check out that podcast. It's all about manifestation. And if you want to hear all of David's info about manifestation, check out Elite Expert Insider. He did a fantastic interview and you can manifest your future. So reach out to us next time if you want to know more about publishing. Keep writing, everybody. And if you want to become an author, reach out to us at eliteonlinepublishing.com and we will see you next time.
If you want to write a book and become a best-selling author, you're in the right place. At Elite Online Publishing, we can help you create, publish, and market your book so that it becomes a #1 bestseller. We work with a limited number of authors to ensure that they receive the best possible service. So if you want to learn how to write and publish a book that will empower you to smartly grow your brand, business, and credibility, apply today. We look forward to working with you.